Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. Mud Flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way on a Sunday morning, the Lord's Day. It's always a pleasure and honor to welcome RJ, the famous Randy from Wisconsin.
Good
Hey, working
morning.
man, how you doing?
Yeah, not just a brand new day, but a brand new week. So yeah, it's well, according to the calendar we share and use. Who knows what day it really is? But
Yeah, wipe the sweat off my forehead. We made it past Hitler's birthday and the whole April 19th, April
yeah,
20 to April 10 to April
anniversary.
20. But I don't
That's
think we're out of the woods. There's a lot going on. I'm going to just start with the pictures because we've been busy, so we need to see what did I leave in the pictures as a trail that's going to spur the conversation. It's not much. Oh, wrong thing. Got just a few things here. Was watching the news late at night last night. The German news is talking about, boy, Germany and India, they are planning their 15-minute cities. They are all in. And how we used to think, finish your meal, there's starving people, fill in the blank in the world. The rich aren't. And most of the people, they identify with American movies because most of the people in the world live that life. I just thought that was just amazing. What they're doing in the other countries right now, is pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. So when the United States patsy gets knocked down, they trained a data model named what? Did I really pause so I could get the next sentence? Yeah. Oh, it was the one before. Newton. They said they trained the data model named using satellite images. It's named Newton. I think I had to go back and get it later. I was just fascinated that this is Colombia. When somebody in the United States hears Jose is from Colombia, oh my God, that cartel ridden, drug infested third world country, they're looking for sister cities to go into 3D printing 15-minute cities for themselves. They're all in on the New World Order. Any comments?
Bring it on. I don't know what you're gonna do about it.
Well, they're just
Yeah,
happy.
it's like a runaway train. That the nonsense that's going on, and yeah, Mother Earth is angry, and yeah, it's
Yeah, Clay. Yeah, Mother
you
Earth,
know,
Mother Gaia has been
it,
insulted. There's
well,
the
yeah, no,
guy. That's the guy I was trying to explain in show notes and stuff. This guy Joel, he's the one that did such a good job as a pastor. Well, I give him a B plus, solid all the way, man. He's dealing with a few guys in his church that are flat earthers, and he's on their team. He doesn't want anybody causing any division in his church with flat earthers because the Bible teaches, doggone it, they got a. That's as good as he go. Doggone it, they got a good argument. He
yeah.
would.
Well, other than the argument, what about the evidence?
And he
Huh?
read the Bible verses. Come on, I'm giving him a B plus. Of course, everyone in his church circle or everybody that is in here is they're all flat earthers, man. He's all alone, but he's
Uh,
doing good. I think better. He's coming along. He's so. I like I said, I like him.
well, be patient. Yeah, he's on
Yeah,
his own timeline with
it's the
the
first
Lord.
time I've seen a non-antagonistic. He got a fairly decent thing going here, doesn't he? Huh. Eventually, they were even able to stop light completely. There's something called, you want to be faster than a speeding bullet. Faster than a light is even faster than a bullet. And yet, they've solved the slow light paradox. They can freeze light in place. Something going on. We're going to look at, what is the media? The mainstream media is another word for medium, that which art or a bubble in a cavitation suspended medium ready to pop at any time. The heart's not like that. It's a pathological excitable medium. We'll have to refresh our memories on that. Heart defibrillation is an example of that. Weird old maps I looked at last night, and it just tied in perfectly with what I finished up on Drake's Passage. When they wanted to make it into, even a flat earth or a globe, they always have a problem with the tip of South Africa, don't they? Or that, or what the heck's going on here? Is that an elephant in South America, or no? That's Africa. What's going on here? Here's 30. Here's 40. Bullshit! You just drop down. There's 30. You can't do 40, 40, 40, 40, and then pick up with 40 over here. The Horn of Africa's in the way. They don't care. Nobody cares. You care, right? I didn't mean to say you don't care, because I care. You care.
Yeah, it's beyond suspicious, what they were, what they're showing is doesn't seem copacetic.
Yeah, because they're all faking it.
Yeah. Yep.
Gone around it. I don't think I meant to have the captions on in that one. That's Scandinavia. Scandinavia is what they said. What's this? Okay, we got Scandinavia.
They're trying to take, something that's flat and make it look where it wraps around a ball. So yeah, everything is distorted.
Right. And are they doing that? And they're putting in Finland next to that's English, man. Russia. You can spell it so many different ways with that language. Starfort castles. Pop it in. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm leaning towards it might be in Brazil. Arabic art is interesting. This is one of the maps that was on that show. And most of the maps they say were Christian, and most of them have dealt with the apocalypse and the final days that they, that was the mainstream interpretation of. There's just a lot of Christian symbology on that map. I used to have a lot of these maps up in the bus as my background. I have that one as my background right now. Like it. This is kind of interesting. The one-legged men, which is why I'm getting more suspicious. I know that they made them look like an eyeball on purpose, but some of these new maps, I haven't seen a couple of these before. I'm gonna have to do that. I guess a look at them thing. I guess this is a world map that luckily it was found with notes, saying this means that, this is this. Flat Earth Nation, the golden age is past. Historians assume these maps are from 1165 to 1240 AD. So is this what they remembered, or just they don't care? Now that's a good one too. Very interesting world map. Atmosphere, stratospheres. There you go. I guess you rub the Earth as the shape of a cue ball and you wouldn't notice these bumps. that are, the troposphere. What triggered this was me finding out that there was something called, we've all heard of the atmosphere and the stratosphere. Well, there's a stratus pause. Stratus pause. There's an atmos pause, not just a sphere, but a pause. So we'll get into that. This atmospheric pressure, this absolutely was driving me crazy last night. You can see there are level of 1 here, at sea level. They listed at 14.7, 13.7. Just paid, the first one are dropping at 3 and 9. So that at 8,000 feet above sea level, that's where I'm at. Dang, am I not under I told you I'm under a lot of pressure all the time. And let's see, right here, so that's right here, 5 miles. They are just right under the boiling point of water when they get up there, because at between 28,000 and 38,000 feet, that's not meters, water starts to boil, and it always evaporates at the same rate. So you never get the tube any higher. Everybody knows that, I guess. The pressure, the millibars, you're going to... Oh, hey, did you see that thing I closed with last night?
I watched about half of that hour.
Okay, yeah, it was a long one, but at the end I closed up with on the 12th, April 12th through the 19th, or this goes back to March 22nd. On Fridays, look at that, was the same economic report. It was always either, no percentage. This is what they say, unprecedented in human history, that a government would just fake it so obvious of saying, here's our job report. And they're just play on numbers of the week before. 212, 212, 222, 212, 212, 212, 212, 212, 210. The odds of that being statistically possible, for 5 of the past 6 weeks, the level of initial jobless filings totaled exactly. They're not playing around like, oh, we're just rounding. No. 5 of the last 6 weeks has been 212,000, giving a labor force that is 168 million strong, achieving such status that Donald Trump and Joseph Biden are able to just keep getting their base worked up. They think they were smart. I'm the smart one. Yeah, we're as good as Trump. The question is being asked, though. They're going too far. How is this statistically possible? Nobody would win the super mega lotto that 5 weeks in a row, 5 out of 6 weeks, somebody won the $1 billion prize on the super lotto. You'd call foul, would you not, RJ?
Well, you could. I think it, warranted, but yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be considered a quack crying golden age past flat earth if you'd say, honey,
conspiracy.
my neighbor just won the super lotto 5 out of 6 weeks, and now he's teasing me. Oh, don't you pay any attention to that mean bully that just what he won $5 billion in 6 weeks. Most of the past several weeks have shown that first-time claims for unemployment benefits haven't fluctuated at all, as in zero. So this news is getting around. That's how.
Well, finally some consistency, huh?
Finally, doggone it, No, just the new world order is working good, especially if you're in love with the number 212. I guess I wanted to continue without supporting. I made a video and I wasn't supposed to be sharing the screen. And then I
Well, you
realize
are.
I realize I go like, that's what it looks like when I'm working. I am just like a kind of a robot. Welcome, Marcella. Happy Sunday, church! Yay! So now, brother, how are you gonna? Here's that something. Here's that guy. Right response.
Protect you from other guys who are trying to kill you. And yet, that's precisely what Joshua and Israel does. Gibeon sends word and says 5 different Amorite tribes have formed an alliance and are coming to destroy us. Quickly, please come to the aid of your servants. We're in a covenant with you. And Joshua honors the covenant not merely to the degree of not inflicting destruction upon Gibeon, but actually coming to protect Gibeon from others that would seek to destroy them, which is a remarkable thing. But from what we can tell, it seems like that was the right decision and that the Lord honored it. So now you have Israel going to the aid of Gibeon.
Here's his intro about flat Earth.
Important topics and doctrines that serve your everyday Christians in the church today. All of Christ for all of life, applying theology not just to the home and to the church, but to politics, to culture, to markets, to economies,
That's
vocation,
post-millennialism.
school and education, the whole 9 yards. So today is our Live with Pastor Joel, and I'm going to be dealing with a text to address our topic at hand, which deals with is the earth round or is it flat? I've got a few guys, even in my church, who would prescribe to a flat earth theory. They're solid men who love the Lord. I know that might sound funny to a few of us today. We think that we're very sophisticated and that we're the most intelligent people to ever live. But all that being said, I'll get into it.
Let's jump into conclusions. Yeah. The smartest people to live.
Yeah, you know, it
way
really.
society acts, I would beg to differ, but whatever.
Yeah. We've been known to find reasons, and sometimes they're right in our face. Anyway,
Generally.
faster than light. Because the sphere travels faster than light, the observer sees nothing until it has already passed. I'll read that again. Because the sphere travels faster than light, the observer sees nothing until it has already passed. Then 2 images appear, one of the sphere arriving on the right and one of it departing on the left. That's the smartest people in the world talking.
Yeah, that's some nice animation, right?
All right, yeah. Somebody got an A+.
Like when you break the sound barrier with a jet or whatever.
It's how they stop it and make Easter eggs that are super colorful. Right now, stop it. Oh, but it gets too big and they can't use that as an Easter egg anymore. Particles whose speed exceed that of light, tachyons, they're just hypothetical. But somebody slowed down light. You saw that. Somebody's talking about they stopped light, but their existence would violate causality. They've been everything's been hypothesized, hypothetically speaking, and would imply time travel. Oh, okay. H.G. Wells, The Time Machine. Look at the cover of the first edition, or one of. It's just a sphinx with the wings, a griffin sphinx, a flying lion, a pharaoh. Come on. It's time to stop. There is no scientific consensus on anything except they want your money, and when you're not looking, they're going to try to rape your wife. So here's where all of this faster than light, wormholes, quantum tunneling absolutely cannot be done. It would violate causality, but it's a thought experiment, conjecture. Why not? Just do it. Just think it. For an earthbound observer, so now it's slowed it down on Earth, man. Objects in the sky complete one. You say you want a revolution around the Earth in one day. Proxima Centauri, the nearest star outside the solar system, you live in what they call the Milky Way, is about 4.5 light years away once you get out of where you live, the Milky Way. All right. So they got it all figured out. Special relativity does not prohibit this, although its causality does. General relativity was developed after special relativity was shown that it was going to be needed to support concepts like gravity and the ability to call the Earth a globe and, believe it or not, go to the moon. Let's go to the moon, everyone. They want people to believe because they can fake string theory that they flew an aluminum can to the moon that they say is 250,000 miles away. You can't hit that with a rock, RJ.
Taking a Land Rover and
Yeah, that's right.
and a camera crew and
Golf club. They took a golf club. Which would have cut. What did somebody figure that out? Would have they required an extra 650,000 pounds of thrust for that? That might even be low. It could be high, but when you go like, I want to take this extra pound up into space, it's supposed to be like, oh my God, no, you don't get mail this month, you poor astronaut. You know, it's too much. It weighs too much. We've only got 3 tons of lift. My gosh. Don't want your golf ball up there. That's right. They had to get the golf ball too.
yeah, when you read, all I can think of is Jeremiah.
Go ahead. Let's hear it. That nobody can measure the Earth.
Where you're measuring, what they call the galaxies or the Milky Way or all that nonsense. It's just, but they have you, their imagination working on your imagination, and if you can visualize it, but it's Photoshop, and I mean, if you're lucky, if it's Photoshop, a lot of it's just animated,
AI
craziness that
they just make it up and put it out there.
But nothing could be further from the truth as far as reality, but that's the world they live in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the world I live in. It's the world we live in. It's a narrow road that makes us overlook these oscillating reactions, that as if a wildfire burns through the forest. That's an very excitable medium.
Masonry and steel and glass, but the trees don't burn it. The ones that do are burning from the inside out. That's completely normal physics
now
today,
right? Because we're the smartest people that ever lived. We figured it out. The nonlinear dynamical system, which has the capacity to propagate a wave of some description, and which cannot support the passing of another wave until a certain amount of time has passed. I guess they don't know about wave ripples, but anyway, for their argument, they don't know about wave ripples. So, but they call it refractory time. It is the fundamental property of any object of auto wave nature. Okay, not responding to stimuli. Is it dead? Well, or is it not a part of nature where it's like, oh, I won't, a rising tide won't lift this ship, damn it. Excuse my language, I just cussed. A forest is an example of an excitable medium. If a wildfire burns through the forest, no fire can return to a burnt spot until the vegetation has gone through its refractory period and regrown. We are in the perpetual stage of burning down. It's just that we get the regrowth every now and then. That's what they call it. In chemistry, oscillating reactions are excitable media. The good example of it is in a cup.
Well,
Once
that
a
reminds me,
bubble,
instead of regrowing, some of that stuff is rebuilt, right? Buildings that keep,
right?
you
Yeah,
build it, burn it down, then
yep,
you're on your third or fourth building on
yeah.
that same site that
Exactly.
looks
We didn't
older than
like
dirt.
Bale. We do tear down his building. His grandson likes Bale. Fix the building. Hey, the foundation is better than the one on the top. Yeah, that's because we're smarter now. Membrane potential. Does that not look like a biological spine? Electrical potentials and everything is excitable. The cavitation of a bubble that is holding up the wall of another bubble is an excitable, very excitable medium, because once the bubbles break, part of that is connected to another bubble. What's going to happen every single time? The bubble next to it is going to break.
The dominoes fall.
They fall like that. And then they claim if you would have painted up one of those spots blue instead of green and yellow, they wouldn't have burned. I'm just digging in on that fire in Hawaii because that's like pretty obvious. Were they not planning it, or did they go like, let's just leave that clue out there that nothing blue burns, and then we'll tag the people that say it. GH Cellular Automation, they refer to it in the article as GH. It's Greenberg and Hastings. Automation is a 3-state, 2-dimensional cellular automation named after the Greenberg and Hastings, designed to model excitable media. That's probably back in the 1700s, right? No, I think it was in 1990. So if they're in the neighborhood, if it breaks, oh my goodness, the one next to it's going to break. It was resting, and now it's excitable too. Could they have made everyone excitable? I'm not a doctor. I am going to get a doggone one of those things at the warning saying the man you're listening to is a self-professed end-time prophet that thinks the earth is flat, and anything he says should be taken in that context, which is why he thinks that messing with mRNA might be setting up a nation full of cavitating effing bubbles. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, recognizing the times we're living in. That's probably a good thing. Some people feel, ignorance. Just we're in good hands. God's in control, so you don't have to figure things out. You can just plod along,
God.
with the blinders, and the white stick, and
Yeah.
and hopefully you don't trip.
If I was a tired horse, I would follow that carrot forever. I would plod on following that carrot like you're just a good little working horse, man, because I would be like, give me that carrot.
Yeah.
It's I couldn't figure this thing here where you could do it with your finger. I just think that they think too much of their theory. This is kind of cool. He 3D printed this because somebody just by accident, this was discovered in 2021. Told you, it was just the Lord kept giving it to me, and I couldn't stop being blessed.
A snug fit, he decided to heat it up and mold it in place. Using lighter fluid for the task, he stumbled upon this weird phenomenon. So of course I said, that's amazing, please send me the file so I can...
So that's how this all went down. It's kind of like that. It's hard to get started on different sizes and shapes, but there are people out there, ladies and gentlemen, that sometimes think of different things. You know, we have this whole golden age past thing going. You know, we don't get the credit for it. This guy that was going to just fix his terrarium, I wonder if he has 1 million views in only 20 hours. Probably not, but he's probably happy. There's your automatic domino machine. When you said that, I saw an automatic. You know, these dominoes could just fall forever.
But yeah, they're being picked back up, you know. And
3D printers seem pretty cool. Why does water boil in tall cups?
Submerged under the water and then lifted up above the surface, the water actually stays inside the cup. The reason this happens is because the water can't fall out of the cup because it needs something to replace that volume of water with. And there's...
This isn't new. Seems like they've known about this a long time. Low pressure, high pressure, under pressure, bum, 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 bum. Ice, ice, baby. That's a song that everybody in the world knows except you, RJ.
Sucked it up. And the taller your cup is, the higher that water can get in there. But the question is there a theoretical limit to how tall your cup could get?
You know there is. So he's doing it, you know, he proves it. Gets out a long tube, because a tube is basically a cup with the top knocked off. Has a long, long commercial. And then he walks the tube up. Floor by floor. Yep. And when you know, right around 30 meters.
Move it down and the level stays right there. Okay, so now watch me pick it up.
Bubbles will start forming.
This is actually really interesting. In the same spot, I did a different experiment where I saw how high you could suck up water through a tube. And it's actually basically the same experiment. But instead of using a vacuum chamber or my mouth to try to suck up water, all I did was
water
plug it up and then
boiling
lift
off and evaporating at a rate that is striving to keep it level. Weird, huh?
and it's unvented.
Right. But even if it was, you know, I mean, trees are unvented, yet they can be taller than 30 meters. And they're pulling water up from the ground and their leaves aren't catching on fire. This is one of the problems with it. What's the stratopause? As we talked before the show, I might have mentioned it. We've all heard of the stratosphere, right? Stratosphere, second layer of the atmosphere. Well, there's stratosphere. Stratuspa is the level of the atmosphere, which is the boundary between two layers, the stratosphere and the mesosphere. In the stratosphere, the temperature increases with altitude. And the stratopause is the region where a maximum in the temperature occurs. This atmospheric feature is not exclusive to Earth. Well, that's good to know. I'm surprised they didn't stick in there such as Venus, Mars, and Uranus, you know, because they just want to
Mhm.
laugh at people. Venus and Mars do not have a stratosphere, thus no stratus pause. You know, you've heard about the ozone level, or the what's the problem with the ozone? There's an ozone hole in a layer up there, right? You heard of that? You're going to put a hole in the ozone. Stop using dihydrofluorocarbons that are in aerosol sprays because it's making a hole in the ozone, the O3. It's a trace gas up in the troposphere. Then what the hell is it doing on the ground? Why is there ground level ozone? If it's ozone, it's O3. And there's a stratopause type layer somewhere up there that, thank goodness, in the 1980s and 90s, we were convinced to stop using aerosol sprays because we were the humans, the start
Yeah,
of the
and they banned different
climate change.
refrigerants, for
Dichloromethane called R22 was just randomly shut out. And they said, you can't use it anymore. And all of the plumbers that I knew, they were outraged and started stocking up on tanks of it because R22 was the best refrigerant that the world has known, according to some people.
Yep.
Oh, you're one of them. Okay, you probably still have some, don't you? Admit it.
I do not have any inventory.
When did you run out? 2016, 30 years after they banned it? Come on, you had some, didn't you?
Not that I can recall.
You still got some, man. In situ, anyway, it's ozone. It's on the ground now, man. Used to be poking a hole up in the sky or something. So there's some problem. You got a problem with your ozone on the ground? These are not the areas you want to live. It's the freaking big cities, man. It's Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, everywhere in California. Guess what that is? It's Phoenix, everybody. Oh, it's Denver, Chicago. Hey, Seattle, you guys are messed up with the meth heads on the street and everything like that. But you don't have a lot of ground ozone because there shouldn't be a problem with ozone. Should not be on the ground, in my spiritual opinion.
In your world.
My world, doggone it. There's another one, the Kármán line. It's a proposed conventional boundary between Earth's atmosphere here. Because, Randy, would you stop making fun of, like, it's supposed to be a vacuum? How can you puncture a vacuum? You're not. You're going through the self-sealing Kármán.
Where's that Van Hellion belt or whatever?
Huh?
That Van Hellion?
That's
No.
way out past the Kármán line.
Yeah.
But this is a proposed. There has to be something sealing the vacuum of space. So let's call it the Kármán line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the boot, scoot, and line dance, was already taken, so they just.
Oh yeah,
You didn't believe it. Here you go. Well, now you believe, right? Now you believe.
Sure. More animation.
Right. I've shown that chart earlier in another form. There you go. Got the atmospheric gas scattering blue light waves, makes it look like us giving the Earth a blue arc or a flat. I don't see the arc.
Well, what's that object right there? It's like a moon. Is that
That's the
supposed
moon.
to be-
Yeah, that's the moon. Looks like you're seeing through it, but that's an optical delusion. We're
Uh,
not menopause. No, mesopause. Dang, they've got another. It's the point of minimum temperature at the boundary Another boundary between the mesosphere, the thermosphere, atmospheric regions. Dang, it get cold there. You're not going to be boiling your water away. Only at 30 meters is that what happens. Or is it 30? Yeah, 30 meters. Maybe 30 feet. 150 feet? There's some trees that big. The modeling studies in the last 10 years have shown that, in fact, there are 2 mesopauses. Those people were so stupid back then. I'm glad we live in this era. I'm so proud to have spanned 2 centuries in the 1900s through into the 2000s. And just knowing that people are getting smarter is great because of we can prove the mesosphere and the mesopause because of the gravity wave dissipation, supposedly. You skeptical? You still skeptical?
Yeah, I was thinking about putting my boots on. It was getting kind of deep.
The thermopause is an atmospheric boundary. Dang, how many boundaries do they have? And
There's no limitations to boundaries.
the temperature of the thermopause could range from nearly absolute zero.
That's a Kelvin temperature.
That's near Kelvin, but that in Celsius, that would be 987.57 degrees Celsius or 1,810 degrees Fahrenheit. It's bubbling. It's bubbling. It's bubbling like an ozone. Tropopause is another one. They got another layer here. The tropopause. Visualize it. See, this is what's going to be causing your tornado. This is how God comes in a cloud, and these are his steps, I guess, is what they would have you believe. There's so many turbopause. Please stop, you homopause, marking the altitude before your turbulent mixing, which you'll layer. They've got it all figured out. Now, it's not an acoustic zone. There's a lack of acoustic zone, an anacoustic zone, zone of silence up there next to the vacuum of space.
That sucks.
Suck the water up the tube. It is the region of the atmosphere of Earth above 160 kilometers. That's 99 miles. Where the air density becomes so low, it's worse than being on a mountain where you can barely breathe because of atmospheric pressure. But the air molecules are not close enough to support transmission of sound waves within the hearing range. Luckily, your Festus will still be able to hear it, probably. With increasing height, the atmosphere becomes more rarefied. That's the rare air of the Michael Jordan era, which increases the mean time between the collision of molecules, also known as Greenwich Mean Free Time. No, just kidding. It's not Greenwich Mean Free Time. Corona is not new. There's a geocorona. It's another part of the outermost region. You thought I was finished with the regions of the Earth. There's one more. Geocorona is the luminous part. It's the luminous part of the outermost region of the Earth's atmosphere, the exosphere. It is seen primarily via far ultraviolet light, according to the Lyman alpha, scattered from neutral hydrogen, and it's just.
Hey, what's this Earth flyby? You see that? You were just there. I don't know.
I'm going to save this picture and I'll go back. This picture is gold to me.
That's an Earth flyby?
I don't know. It's
Right there,
Earth
it's like-
and its hydrogen envelope.
More
As seen
nonsense.
from the moon.
Okay.
I see a Vesica pike has started up in the light. I see the X forming the
It's Photoshop, but it has to be.
they're sending a message. I'm not allowed to I do not process. Do not process. That's a funny English accent, huh?
If you click on the flyby, where
Oh.
does it take you?
I forgot what we were doing. I mean,
Oh, you closed it?
nope.
Right,
What
right
what
there.
what flyby? What
Right by
fly?
your it says as an earth flight. Right, what? Oh, that's
A
no,
planetary
another
flyby is
drawing.
the act of sending UFOs out to probe people on Uranus,
So
past
yeah,
a dwarf planet.
but there's no pictures, but they can draw you something.
Yeah, it is.
All right,
What do you mean? You don't call that a pic? It's a picture.
all right. That
There's
thanks.
a better one.
Is it?
Yeah. No.
Looks
Well,
like someone's starting their lawnmower or something.
well, it's got different areas of rotation, and how long it takes.
Yeah, it's
Like if you launch this thing on 1989 on October 18th, well, that's where it was, and then you could just follow its path. And
yeah.
they used the Galileo flyby feature of the Earth flyby
Right.
mode.
Okay.
You can't go to the moon without it, man.
Probably. It's like a credit card.
We're not even going to look at all of these. I mean, at least it's heterosphere, I meant. So there is that one too. It's a layer of atmosphere where the gases are set. It's another layer upon layer. It's like there's homospheres, not that
Wave
there's
upon
anything
wave
wrong with that.
of nonsense. Yeah.
Not that is that really, how come it would be so much funnier if somebody else, I just did a hetero homo is like, it's the least funny thing in the world, but in my mind, it was going to be like hilarious. Troposphere. Okay, I got a better idea. Please stop. I think we did thermosphere, and the stratosphere, of course, is what we all know about. It's the afterglow of the troposphere. Please, no more. Dang it, atmospheric pressure. There we go. What is it? The pressure that you're under that makes that water boil. The atmospheric pressure measurement is roughly equivalent to the mean sea level, not the kind sea level, the mean one. There's one in the desert, the mean sea level. You can put up a tourist sign, drive and see it. Atmospheric pressure is closely approximated by the hydrostatic pressure caused by the weight of the air above the measurement point. Wow. All right. You need pictures. Map showing atmospheric pressures causing weather events, I'm sure. 15-year mean average.
See, that other one was actually closer to a real map than what the one before that.
Kind of is. It definitely is a flat Earth map. It's a
That's why,
equidistance map, because you can see there's what they have, Greenland, Iceland, Canada, the United States, all coming up into the center. Coming over here this basically is a
and that's what. But this type of map, then things actually
makes sense.
Make sense, than distorting it the other route. But yeah, it flows.
Nice catch. Nice. Was I showing pictures?
Though you're sharing it. See, now that's nonsense, Matt.
These things probably work. Altimeters. Yeah, that's the bullshit, man. We need to get an app that just straightens out all
That doesn't look flat, does it?
Sure does.
Okay.
Here's your atmospheric pressure versus altitude. I showed a lot of those already in the preview. In the wintertime, coming into the mountains, expect trouble. You're gonna have to, adjust your tires, people. They're gonna go flat on you when you come up here. You got to adjust your tires. You gotta boil your macaroni longer. You've seen all those on the boil your macaroni boxes all your life saying, why they got to boil it more up there? We're living in rare air, baby. It just takes more. This is hurricanes that are probably going to finish off Louisiana sometime in the near future. You're not looking good for you either, Mississippi. Standard atmospheric unit. Let's see how far back does the history of that go. 1954. Okay. That's when the world's general conference on weight and measures were adopted, and the standard atmospheric blowing the smoke up your skirt started. Anybody want me to read the 9 pages of the nonsense of how they spell it out? I'm guessing you don't.
Does light actually slow down in different...
What? Why would they even consider that? That's crazy.
Something to think about. I don't know.
Because they slowed it down.
materials, or is it just a trick? Luckily, we live in an age where we can easily get our hands on an
We're
instrument,
the smartest people in the world.
some mud at an angle. This causes it to turn into the slower moving mud a little bit. Now this explanation makes sense, but did you hear what I said? The speed of light slows down in water. The most
I guess that's a paradox, because the smartest people in history are like, they're working on it, man. They'll get it. All they want is a little more time, a little more experimenting, and they'll have it all figured out.
times a cosine function. So that means that the electric field produced by the moving electrons is the derivative of the cosine function.
Okay, more nonsense to blow your mind out, which is basically they're just using cosine, tangent, survey words that we use in survey to scare people away. Oh, good thing we can trust those guys. Otherwise, I'd think that the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 2 would be 1.4142. Nobody would think that. Not unless you had these
Red
guys
line.
explaining
and so the new light
it for
after
you.
that first layer of electrons is now this black line. And then that black line hits the next layer of electrons and gets shifted back again.
So the constant speed of light, give it up.
Visualizing this effect that I'm talking about. I'll link his video in the description. Also, there are a couple great...
Yeah, and then he'll not give you good answers. So we're back to the elephantine proof of the Jews worshiping Baal and Jehovah at the same time. We live in a crazy world, Brother Randy. Would you feel like reading some scriptures?
Yeah, I can
All right.
attempt that.
All of a sudden, it's going to talk about the Pharaoh and the taskmasters. This is Exodus 5. He's going to be picking it up in verse 6 that same day.
Bricks and straw. That same day, Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people and their foremen, "You shall no longer supply the people with straw for making bricks. They must go and gather their own straw, but require of them the same quota of bricks as before. Do not reduce it, for they are lazy. That is why they are crying out, let us go and sacrifice to our God. Make the work harder on the men so they will be occupied and pay no attention to these lies. So the taskmasters and foremen of the people went out and said to them, this is what Pharaoh says, I am no longer giving you straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your workload will in no way be reduced.
Go get your
So
own
the
straw.
So the people scattered all over the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. The taskmasters kept pressing them, saying, fulfill your quota each day, just as you did when straw was provided. Then the Israelite foremen, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over the people, were beaten and asked, why have you not fulfilled your quota of bricks yesterday or today?
This was an
As you
Israelite foreman
did
beating his own,
before.
working for the wrong guys. Sorry to interrupt you there. I don't think a lot of people caught that.
So the Israelite foreman went and appealed to Pharaoh. Why are you treating your servants this way? No straw has been given to your servants, yet we are told, make bricks. Look, your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people. You are slackers, Pharaoh replied. Slackers. That is why you keep saying, let us go and sacrifice to the Lord. Now get to work. You will be given no straw, yet you must
Oh my
deliver a
goodness.
full quota of bricks.
Dang.
The Israelite foremen realized they were in trouble when they were told, you must not reduce your daily quota of bricks. When they left Pharaoh, they confronted Moses and Aaron, who stood waiting to meet them. May the Lord look upon you and judge you, the foreman said, for you have made us a stench before Pharaoh and his officials. You have placed in their hand a sword to kill us. So Moses returned to the Lord and asked, Lord, why have you brought trouble upon this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people, and you have not delivered your people in any way.
Oh my goodness. It's just crazy. You must deliver your full quota of bricks. And the Israelite foreman realized they were in trouble. Oh
Yeah.
boy, man. Because it's like, guys, he means it. So they're scrambling. But this world's full of bricks, everyone, in star fort cities. And some of them have been melted. And believe it or not, I believe that the brick is modeled on what you find in nature. The cells of the Titans look like bricks. What else would they look like? Little square cells that make your muscle, and then some of them are different shapes and actually turn into points. I've shown them all, and I want to show them again. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for the Lord's Day. Thank you, Heavenly Father. One more, the look at lightning, thunder and lightning flashes, the Barak, my flashing sword. There's always been evidence that this is truly an electric world. You're a battery. 2 Samuel, lightning, even the glittering point from his gall. That needs some looking into. Job 20, verse 25. It is drawn out of his back, the gleaming point from his liver. That's the calls of the kidney. Terror comes over him. Total darkness is reserved for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The possessions of his house will be removed, flowing away on the day of God's wrath. This is the wicked man's portion from God, the inheritance God has appointed him. Wow. Comments, brother. That was a
Well,
mouthful.
it sounds like a slow burn. It's not a fan flame, but it's plenty hot where it's yeah.
The glittering point comes out of the body. It is drawn. Tears come out of his gall, kidneys. That's a one of one use, but it's used a lot more than one time, I think. Only 3 here with this. Now, so we'll have to look at what word this comes from. Their clusters bitter. You write bitter things against him. So this is only used in Job. They say it's part of this root. The archers solely grieved him. They made their lives bitter. This is Ishmael's wife. He married foreign women, and it made Rebecca and Isaac's life miserable. They couldn't stand it, which is why she said, "You're not marrying one of these people, Jacob. You are going back to not marry one of these people that are making my life bitter and hard." Okay. So I just had this picture of the, is possible, slide this down, that, there could be the reason the Zionists didn't put the fake new Israel in Brazil is that it could have actually been that. So I like it. Been working on this, the Obadiah image. It looks like that's about it, Brother Randy. I had a lot of tropospheric different things going on, but we have, it took a lot of work to get that.
That's supposed to be the upside down world that you just showed there in their mind.
They needed something to show the full deep water formation. This is the Drake's Passage right here that sticks out of, those photos I showed earlier of South America, Africa, the going around Cape Horn right here. So if this is that part that it visualize it in a flat earth map that isn't in this orientation where the ice wall isn't as thick on this side and so thin on this side. This is a work in progress. Probably, the last tab was about your planetary flybys, which of course is ridiculous, as is the idea that there is now a proposed thin gasket layer that seals the vacuum of space from a supposed globe that people professing Christ seem to be okay with. Go ahead, brother. I mean, I'm not buying it.
Well, yeah, like I say, it reminds me of, takes me to Jeremiah. What man is capable of, or not capable of, actually, and it'll never happen because if it does happen, then everything's void. It's like God's disclaimer, to us, and either you believe it or you don't, and you're not being forced with a gun to your head to believe anything that God has revealed, certainly. But I would take it serious and
Take a
claim
hard
that
look at the Bible.
it's the best advice you can get. But like I say, every has to either, well, even if you don't make a decision, you still have made a choice. So take it for what it is.
in the comments, justice for Kanika Jenkins. Y'all say no to sacrifice in the name. So maybe we'll close in just 1 second. I did want to, it made me look up that on September 10th, again, the start of my worst 10 days that I stress more than anything is September 10th to 20. That's pretty well documented. On the September 9th, 2017, she died. A 19-year-old girl from Chicago was found dead inside a last freezer of the Crown Plaza. That's the famous Airy Crown Plaza, union-run British-American multinational chain of full-service upscale hotels. You can't. I don't. You don't go there to eat. Just take your friends out. Let's go have $100, dinner, and I'm buying. Wow, Rosemont. I've been to that many times. That convention center. It's a town made for criminals. To be criminals. She was a resident of the west side of Chicago. Borrowing her mother's car, she left the house at 11:30 to attend a private party at Crown Plaza. Strange, but not many people get invited there, especially underage girls. An acquaintance who was present with Jenkins at the party noticed that she appeared to be swaying back and forth as she embraced him in a hug. Several drugs. Did not see her partake in any marijuana. Did witness her drink cognac. Wasn't acting like herself. Walk-in freezer. Should have been able to walk right out then. Cameras turned off. Motion detection security. I believe this man he works with the Roman Catholics a lot. He's big in the Chicago area. I think he is somehow hooked up with the Roman Catholic Church. I know I might be confusing him with Father Flagler. But he'd been involved with Jerry Springer, expert on the Columbine Massacre, Jenny Jones, Legionnaire's disease. Wow. And the idea is that we can't get pushed off the Pizzagate because they called it an unfounded conspiracy. It seems like there's satanic people out there cooking and eating children, raping them first. Any final words on?
Yeah, and then the trauma of the whole thing was with the adrenochrome and
We're all traumatized.
It seems unimaginable, but apparently it's realer and closer than what you can comprehend. Yeah.
It's almost as if the whole world is fake, RJ, and that we should really, go back to the time when it was one man, one wife, for life. Let's raise children because we want children. That's a narrow road anymore. And the road is going to remain narrow. But for those of us who are looking to the afterlife, one called, two chosen, three faithful, our joy is renewed every morning.
Yeah, and there was a time where safe places were more prevalent, where now it's the chaos is overwhelming.
If you would, could you close us in prayer, brother, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
Sure, I'll close with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Now to him who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you unblemished in his glorious presence with great joy, to the only God, our Savior, be glory, majesty, dominion, and authority throughout Jesus Christ our Lord, before all time, and now and for all eternity. Amen. It is a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because mud flood was Armageddon. We're never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We are proving we have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.